Are you tired of using subpar fertilizer that don't give your crops the boost they need? Look no further than Irish Shite, the all-natural and sustainable solution for your farm. Made from the finest blend of Irish animal waste, Irish Shite provides essential nutrients for your crops to thrive. And it's not just good for your crops, it's also good for your skin. With Irish Shite, you'll look 10 years younger. So why settle for less? Choose Irish Shite. It's made right here in Ireland. And be sure to tell your friends and fellow farmers about the power of Irish manure. This message has been brought to you by the Irish Shite Association, the natural choice for a sustainable farm.
Kevin,
Will.
did you ever encounter magic in real life?
Yeah.
In what way?
It was March 3rd, 2021. You said, I'll count you down. 5, 4, 3. And I went, wait, 5? And I knew right then we had the magic.
It's a deep cut.
No, you know, genuinely, I thought when we riffed on The Princess Bride, I knew that the podcast was going to be magic.
What podcast?
That's what our listeners say.
Yeah, let's get into it, Kevin.
Wait, we didn't get a big laugh there. Usually we need a big laugh to go into the segue. Okay, let me just give you one. Roll it.
The best bits.
I'll use small words that you'll be sure to understand, you warthog-faced buffoon.
What you just said is one of the most insanely idiotic things I have ever heard. Everyone in this room is now dumber for having listened to it.
You are stupid, you have no taste, a lousy sense of humor, and you smell.
Don't call me stupid.
Hello, and welcome to The Best Bits, a movie podcast where we pick our favourite scenes from randomly selected, weirdly specific themes. This is your co-host, Will, a writer of 3 films plus a Christmas special, and I am joined once again by my co-host and writer of 1 and a bit films and 3 and a bit episodes of television, Kevin Lehan. Kevin Lehan, how are you?
Hello, Will. I'm looking forward to this episode because I'm full of whimsy.
You're so, I would say you're 2 things. You are magical and you're real, Kevin. So you've got all the elements we need for a magical realism episode. That makes no sense whatsoever. 0.
No, it doesn't.
Absolutely 0. You're so stoic looking.
No. I was hoping to get a laugh out of you. I only do this podcast to make you laugh.
Oh, well, you know.
You can cut that in somewhere.
Cut it in, yeah, no problem. Kevin, we're here to talk with your to talk about your favourite topic, magical realism.
Okay, I gotta come clean now and say to you that I don't know what constitutes magical realism. I can give you what my definition of it is, and then you can school me on it.
Great. Give me your definition, and I'll give you what Wikipedia has told me.
Okay. Well, what I believe, if somebody said to me, describe magical realism, I would guess, and this is just a complete guess, that it is the harsh reality of the world as we know it, so we're sort of familiar with the world, is revealed to be actually tinged with the supernatural, and it takes a childlike, innocent protagonist to reveal it to us.
Yeah, you're not far off. You're actually very close, Kevin. You're very, very close.
Okay, good. I still don't know what those movies are, though.
Magical realism, right? So it was a term coined in the 1920s in relation to an art and literature movement which emerged in South America in the 1920s, right? So this is where it actually came from. And
where in South America?
Well, one person I can say who it relates to, an author. He's a Colombian author, and it is Gabriel Garcia Marquez, who wrote a very famous book called 100 Years of Solitude and other things. So it was spawned, it was coined basically off the back of trying to put some sort of categorization on the work that was coming out of this movement from South America back in the 1920s.
That kind of makes sense to me in some way, even though Colombia is not Mexico, but Mexico does have a lot of what I would think of as magic realism movies.
Yeah, and it's not just Colombia; it's South America in general. For example, because I was on Wikipedia, right, and I was delighted to see when I Wikipedia'd.
Can't trust everything you see, or you can't trust everything you read on Wikipedia.
You can't. Well, I can in regards to this particular list, because when I looked at films and television which use magical realism, a film I wrote was on the list. So, Song of the Sea is considered, according to Wikipedia, as magical realism.
Oh, I really need to see that.
You should. Yeah, it's not bad.
It's the one about the wolves.
No, it's not the one about the wolves. It's the one about the fairy seals.
Oh God, I'm just rehashing the same jokes now over and over again. Never mind. Okay, right. Would you have counted Song of the Sea as magic realism?
Well, this is the thing. I not consciously. Like, I'm not aware of magic realism. I don't say, oh...
You're not conscious when you write?
No, well, I'm not. I'm obviously awake when I write.
Okay.
But I definitely... when I look back at a lot of the stories I have written, and the stories I enjoy, and the stories I like to write and play with, they do include elements of magic realism.
Why?
I just love magic existing in the ordinary world. That's what I love.
Right, but didn't you grow up where... there was a fairy fort nearby?
Well, there were lots of fairy stuff going on around our place, yeah.
See, that I grew up in the city, so fairy forts, those were usually bars that people would go into. But you actually had things that were considered to contain magic. So I wonder whether that permeated your view of the world as a child, because as kids we're told that the tooth fairy is real, we're told that Santa Claus is real, and I think that as I was trying to define magic realism, I do think you need that naivety and that childlike innocence to bridge the two worlds between what's real and what's potential out there. And maybe that has influenced your affinity and your affection for this definition of a genre.
Yeah, because I still exist in the world, kind of intrigued by things like fairy forts and any sort of cryptozoological story that exists there. I'm still the one who's like, if you tell me a ghost story, I'm just leaning forward, going, "Oh, it's real." I'm so there. I want it to be real. I think the world is much more interesting with magic, or the promise of some sort of magic or supernatural phenomenon out there.
Films are like magic realism, aren't they?
Yes! There's a bit of magic. When you go to the cinema, all of a sudden you kind of have a little bit of magic in your mundane, regular life. And, the act of going to the cinema is like experiencing magical realism.
Although I have to say, some of my favorite experiences have been like when a new release gets dropped on Pirate Bay and it's like 1080p and you just hit download and it like straight down. And, you just whack it on your phone and it's nothing beats it.
Oh, man. Yeah, the cinema experience cannot replicate watching a pirated film on your phone, Kevin.
Yeah, in bed. Yeah, it's wrapped up, eating Maltesers and throwing up.
You said earlier on that, a lot of these magic realism films have like kind of an innocence, or a kind of a main protagonist who's innocent and has a naive worldview. And that's not necessarily, doesn't have to be the case. It doesn't necessarily have to be the case.
Yorgos Lanthimos has done very dark magic realism films.
Hey, dude, it's like you fucking read my mind, because I was going to bring up Yorgos Lanthimos.
Well, I am looking over your shoulder, so, I can't see you now.
You've brought up before, not often, but you have brought it up before. You've brought up The Lobster before.
Yeah, The Lobster is very good.
Yeah, so I haven't seen that.
Quirky,
for this topic.
Very quirky.
Yeah, because I actually had only seen The Favourite of his films.
Yeah, which is an absurdist comedy, I suppose you could.
Yeah, it's not magic realism, but his film in between The Lobster and The Favourite is also considered magic realism, and it is The Killing of a Sacred Deer. Have you seen that?
I haven't.
So The Killing of a Sacred Deer is a very unusual film, and it stars Colin Farrell, Nicole Kidman, Barry Keoghan, and a couple others. It is about a doctor. He's a cardiovascular surgeon, Colin Farrell's character, who presides over a spotless household with his wife and 2 children. Lurking in the margins of his idyllic suburban existence is Martin, a fatherless teen who insinuates himself into the Doctor's life in gradually unsettling ways. It doesn't sound like there's much magical realism there.
No.
But there is an element of magical realism in this story. And I watched it this past weekend and I found it a gripping film because we have this teenager who seems to be pulling the strings of Colin Farrell's character. And Colin Farrell's character is very much a professional, highly thought of. He has got like perfect family, but he's very stilted and kind of robotic in his behavior. And whenever Barry Keoghan's character says jump, Colin Farrell goes, how high? You know? He says, I'll be there. I'll do it.
Are you being literal now or just you're using
an analogy? Not literal, but yeah, an
He's
analogy.
not like beginning saying jump.
But like there's a moment like where Barry Keoghan's character says to Colin Farrell, shows up at his office and said, I'd like for you to come to dinner tonight and stay and watch my favourite movie. We cut to Colin Farrell awkwardly in this kid's kind of like lower rent accommodation with his mother having dinner and sitting down and they're watching Groundhog Day together. So like,
are they watching Groundhog Day together?
Yeah. And halfway through the film, Barry Keoghan says, I'm tired, I'm going to go to bed. And he just disappears, right? And the magic realism is a bit of a plot spoiler, but I'm going to plot spoil right now because it comes about halfway through the film.
Okay.
One morning,
I'm just going to put my fingers on my ears.
Okay, there you are. Big fingers. You've got Prince Charles fingers, Kevin.
Yeah, it's a condition.
Yeah. And all of a sudden, one morning, Colin Farrell's son can't walk. He can't use his legs. And it progresses to get worse. And Colin Farrell takes him to the best doctors and the best medical minds in hospital. And they all say there's nothing physiological wrong with him. Colin Farrell is adamant that, we think it's just him making things up. But Barry Keoghan's character shows up and says, I want to meet you in the cafeteria in 10 minutes. And Colin Farrell immediately leaves and goes and has a conversation with Barry Keoghan.
Come whenever you can.
I don't think I'll have time today, as you might imagine. We'll talk some other time.
No, today, to the cafeteria. Just for 10 minutes. Don't stand me up like last time. I brought you a present. You've given me so many presents, and I've not given you anything. I thought that was rude of me. Close your eyes. Close your eyes, please. It's a Swiss Army knife. I shouldn't have told you that. I just ruined the surprise. I'm sorry.
Thank you very much, Martin.
That was dumb.
Martin, I have to get back downstairs.
Okay. I won't keep you much longer, even though you have been devoting less and less time to me lately. I wanted to say one more thing. I'm really sorry about Bob.
It's nothing serious.
No, it is. That critical moment we both knew would come someday. Here it is. That time is now. You know what I mean.
No, I don't. Listen, Martin, I don't have time for this.
Okay, I'm gonna explain this very quickly so that I don't hold you up. Yes, it's exactly what you think. Just like you killed a member of my family, now you gotta kill a member of your family to balance things out, understand? I can't tell you who to kill, of course, that's for you to decide, but if you don't do it, they will all get sick and die. Bob will die, Kim will die, your wife will die. They will all get sick and die. 1, paralysis of the limbs. 2, refusal of food to the point of starvation. 3, bleeding from the eyes. 4, death. 1, 2, 3, 4. Don't worry, you won't get sick, you just gotta stay calm, that's all. There, I said it as quickly as I could. I hope I haven't kept you too long. One more thing. I'll be very quick. You only have a few days to decide who to kill. When stage 3 kicks in, you remember what stage 3 is? Is bleeding from the eyes. That's stage 3. Once the bleeding happens, it's only a matter of hours before they die. Okay, there. I have nothing more to say, unless you've any questions.
So Barry Keoghan's character effectively is like a Rumpelstiltskin-like character out of a Grimm's fairy tale. And he has this power and ability, and there's no rational explanation for how he has that power. He just has it, and he wields it against this Colin Farrell's character and his family. So it's got that kind of magical realism, doesn't have to be explained, but he's using it for dark, nefarious reasons. And it's fascinating.
Okay. Sounds fun.
It's really intense. It's really terrifying as well.
So you can do horror as magical realism.
That's what it's implying. It's implying that you can do, like, you know, a type of, if there's no kind of rational explanation for what's happening, that effectively is magical realism.
Can I bring up another magic realism horror film then?
Yeah.
Amelie.
Amelie?
Yeah, that film was fucking terrifying.
I was just going to go when you said horror. Why is it terrifying, Kevin?
Because it's so whimsical. It just brings me out in hives.
I wasn't able to go back and watch it. I just found myself unable to go back there.
Unwilling.
It feels like so early 2000s. I just wasn't able to go there.
Feels like a perfume ad. So is Groundhog Day magic realism?
You see, Groundhog Day, in my head, Groundhog Day
so is
also
Groundhog Day
magic realism. In my head, Kevin, head...
So is Groundhog Day... Sorry.
I'm being very silly now. Yeah. I think Groundhog Day is magic realism because there's no explanation for the magic. It's very much set in a real world.
But they don't do any magic in that. They don't explain anything.
Which is magical realism.
Okay. So magic realism doesn't require an explanation.
Not necessarily, no. It doesn't necessarily require... It can have an explanation if you want, but you can just employ it if you want it to be... If you just want to use it randomly, you can, and that's magic realism. As long as whatever device you're using is reflecting back on the real world, then that's kind of the point of magic realism.
Big Fish?
Absolutely.
So
this is one of the films on my list, actually.
Okay, so maybe a good bridge is if people are telling stories about the real world, but the fantasy element is coming into play, but you're still able to recognize that this is grounded in reality?
Yeah, there's definitely has to be one foot in reality. There has to be one foot in reality. That's the essential thing.
What was that one? Benjamin Button. That would be magic realism, wouldn't it?
Absolutely. Where Benjamin Button himself is going from a wrinkly old man to a small little tiny cute baby. Yep, that's magic realism as well. There's so many, Kevin. There are so many. I could list you out a bunch.
Michel Gondry's movies.
Yeah. Ted, for instance. Ted's magic realism.
What? The teddy bear movie?
Yeah, that's magic realism.
I'm taking Lauren to dinner. You don't think she's going to be expecting something big, do you?
It's been 4 years, Johnny. You and me have been together for 27 years. Where's my ring? Huh? Where's my ring? What did all my fuzzy fingers? Where's my ring? Come on.
Knock it off.
All right, I'm just saying.
God, I remember going to see that one Christmas, and it was such an unpleasant cinema experience.
Why?
Because, do you know when you get the vibe that a comedy is not working and the jokes aren't funny, but there are certain people in the audience that feel like they have committed to coming to see this film and will manufacture enthusiasm to justify them wasting their time seeing it. So they're overly performative about how funny the film is, and it just makes it even less funny.
Or maybe they just enjoyed it and you weren't enjoying it.
No, they couldn't enjoy it. We're just going like, ha, 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 ha.
I think maybe they were just enjoying it and you were just like, I'm not enjoying this. So obviously everyone here is just faking it.
Yeah, it wasn't funny enough to justify the amount of forced laughter. It's also, I hate when people clap at the end of movies.
Oh, they did not clap at the end of Ted.
No, but I did. I was glad it was over.
Hey, listen, one of the things that we kind of have to, one of the films we have to bring up in relation to magic realism, and is one that's on the top of many lists, and is not on the top of my list, is Guillermo del Toro's Pan's Labyrinth.
a dark time, when hope was bleak, there lived a young girl whose only escape was in a legend that wanted her back.
It's not on the top of your list. Does that mean that you didn't like it as much as others?
I honestly feel, and this is me, I rewatched it again at the weekend, and I had the exact same experience watching it at the weekend as I did when I first saw it in the cinema, when it first came out in the 2000s, which was I appreciated the film. I felt I was watching a film that I knew everyone loved, and I was watching it going, I could see kind of why you love this film, but it's just not moving me in the way that I'm not getting the same amount of, I don't have the same amount of love that everyone else seems to have for the film. And I felt odd.
No, I feel the same as you. The craft is unrivaled. It's a beautiful looking film. So technically you can't really fault it. It's beautiful, it's lush, it feels like a confection. But it doesn't feel human. It feels so ornate and porcelain that, I don't know, there's no warmth coming from it.
I think we know that Guillermo del Toro loves his monsters.
He loves his transhumanism.
That's another way of putting it. And in this film, I think the beauty and majesty is when we see those strange, unusual, terrifying figures on screen. The fawn and the creature in the lair that's underground with the eyes in his hands. And I think that's its triumph, really. But I'm kind of like you, the human characters, the real world characters, the little girl, Ophelia, and her mother, and the Mercedes, I kind of just felt distant from them. I wasn't invested in their story, and I thought it was a me problem.
When everything is designed, overly designed, it doesn't feel like there's anything that I can relate to. It just feels like, I don't know, it's a hard one to describe. It's just, maybe it's the period setting and the fact that everything about it feels artificial.
Yep. I'm there with you. I'm just having this awkward. Although on saying that, it still is an amazing film to watch. And I know that it's on the top of many people's lists, and it should be on many people's lists. It's just obviously we've got some problem. The scene I think is great in Pan's Labyrinth is the scene where she does descend into that lair when she's on that mission, and she goes into the chamber where this creature is there it's got no eyes, and the table is laden with food.
Doug, isn't that Doug? What's his face?
You're right. Doug Jones.
Yeah, Doug Jones. Yeah.
Yeah. And the creature picks up eyeballs and puts the eyeballs into the palms of his hand, and that's how he holds it.
But that's very much like Alice in Wonderland with the Mad Hatter and the Queen of Hearts, or whatever she was.
It is an amazing scene, and it's an amazing creature design, and it's beautifully created. Yeah, but I have a contrasting pick for you, right? It's a film that came out the exact same year. We mentioned it before.
What year was that?
2006, I believe.
2006.
Right?
Children of Men.
It's a film that came up in the podcast before.
Grabbers.
Came up in the podcast.
No, that was
too early.
2012, yeah.
Yeah. It's The Fall.
Oh, yeah.
How'd you hurt your arm?
My head.
Me too. I'll tell you a story. Close your eyes. There were 5 of them.
The Indian, the ex-slave, an explosive expert, Charles Darwin, and the masked bandit. They had one common enemy, Governor Odious.
Is Odious bad man?
Oh, yeah. But first, I need a favor.
You always stop at the same part when it's very beautiful.
Do you want me to finish the story? Be a good bandit. When I fall asleep, you gotta go.
Why?
I don't want you to see me like this.
It's poisonous.
That story was just a trick to get you to do something for me.
Wake up. Why are you making everybody die?
We're a strange pair, aren't we? Are you trying to save my soul?
But that's dream logic. So is dream logic magic realism?
Well, it can possibly, yeah. It's a bit of a, you can stretch it.
Although it's not really dream logic. Again, it's somebody telling a story. So it's like the big fish type thing.
This is the big fish type. The Fall is the big fish type thing. And for those of you, because I'm sure a lot of our listeners have seen Pan's Labyrinth, but haven't seen The Fall. So The Fall came out the same year as Pan's Labyrinth. It is a film by Tarsem Singh. And the synopsis is, in a hospital on the outskirts of 1920s Los Angeles, an injured stuntman begins to tell a fellow patient, a little girl with a broken arm, a fantastic story about 5 mythical heroes. Thanks to his fractured state of mind and her vivid imagination, the line between fiction and reality start to blur as the tale advances. It stars a little girl who hasn't appeared in anything before or since. Lee Pace is the injured stuntman, and it is fantastic. I like Pan's Labyrinth. I rewatched it this weekend just to compare and contrast to see, is it me? Because I watched The Fall many years ago and thought it was fantastic. And I rewatched it this weekend and I thought it was equally fantastic. But you said with Pan's Labyrinth, you didn't connect with the human characters.
No.
And in The Fall, I fell in love with all of the human characters, particularly the little girl. She is so, the performance that Tarsem Singh gets out of her is incredible. It's so naturalistic. It feels like he's just plucked her out of the street and put her in front of the camera and just let her go. Sometimes it's hard to actually understand what she's saying because I think she's Romanian. Her origin is Romania. She's from Eastern Europe originally. And she is the beating heart of this film.
Not a sister.
Bless you. No, what? Yes, she is.
She doesn't have brothers and sisters.
No, she's a nun. Like these nuns out here.
And she turned from the mess bandit and she said,
"May I be frank with you?
Of course.
Although I've dedicated my life to God and goodness, I secretly love throwing oranges at our priest."
Take 2 turns to the left and go to the bathroom.
No, you're at my note.
What are you talking about? Go to the bathroom.
No. How do you know about the priest and the orange?
Everybody knows you like throwing oranges at the priest. Even the priest knows. But I didn't find that out from your gibberish message.
It's not gibberish.
It's also a beautiful looking film. It's so colourful and vibrant, and yeah, and it benefits from being shot on location. It doesn't feel like a soundstage movie where everything feels artificial. Even the air feels artificial in some of those, overly designed movies.
And this is a overly designed film, no question about it. But because it's shot on location, it feels real.
Yeah,
those fantasy stories is they're amazing. They're so evocative. They draw you in. Each image just draws you into the fantasy story.
You feel like you're dreaming when you're watching it.
Yeah, it's amazing. It just whips along, and ultimately, it's so fucking moving. Like there's a scene in that film which had me in bits, and it's a pivotal moment where the little girl and Lee Pace, who is suicidal, are dueling over the fate of the fictional characters.
Oh, yeah.
It is devastating because he's wounding himself and he's wounding her in what he's doing to the characters, and she's desperately fighting him in the real world, but also in the fictional world.
Get up! Look at him! Look at him! I want you to see how pathetic he really is.
Get up!
For God's sake, the water's only waist high.
I'm not your father.
Help! Look at him! He's a drug addict! Your father is a coward! A useless, good for nothing!
Get up!
Can't win. That's because our masked bandit's a coward. Yeah. He never took an oath.
Governor Odious.
A fake. He's a liar and a coward.
You're lying.
No. He had his fingers crossed.
Joyously kill him.
He has to die.
I don't believe you.
He was dying.
Don't kill him. I'll bring you more pills if you want. Dad, get up! Don't kill him.
There's nothing left for him.
His daughter.
He wasn't her father either.
She loves him.
She'll survive. She's young.
I don't want you to die. Don't kill him. Let him live. Let him live. Don't kill him.
Why did that film not grab people the same way as Pan's Labyrinth?
I just do not know. I just do not know why that film is overlooked.
I think it probably has to do with Guillermo del Toro being such an entertaining raconteur and media guy. I think he's a character, so he's a great salesman for his films.
And maybe that's it.
Because I've never seen an interview with Tarsem Singh. I've never seen him.
No.
I've never seen him speak about his films.
He hasn't made that many films. He made The Cell. He made Immortals.
The Cell, which is also like stunning looking.
Yeah. I'm going to say The Fall is up there as one of my favorite magical realism films. I absolutely adore it. It's so special. It's a really, really powerful piece of work, and it's about the salvation of a character, the salvation of this man who's given up, whose heart has been broken, and about how he can move on from heartbreak. And this little girl is there doing her best to save him, and it's so powerful. It really is.
I was once told by an executive that it is a mistake to write a character who is suicidal, because as an audience, we will check out when somebody has given up. That we prefer characters who are striving against the odds to succeed, and that if they don't care about living anymore, and this is their main thrust, then it is narratively a dead end. I'm not sure whether I agree with that, but it stuck with me. I always remember it.
The difference with this in The Fall is that you have the main character is the little girl.
Yes, of course.
It's her point of view.
What about The Wizard of Oz? Surely that has got to come up.
That's magical realism as well. Yeah, but I
wasn't
going to go
pure fantasy in my eyes.
But it's her. It starts off with Dorothy in Kansas. She goes into this fantasy world, but the elements in that fantasy world are pointing back to her real world. Like, all those three characters she meets, they're based on
people from her. Yeah. And the Wicked Witch is like the
neighbor, the wicked neighbor.
Yep. It has one of the best shots in movies, like one of the most iconic shots. If ever you see those montages about cinema, the ones that will pop up again and again will be like Robert De Niro going, "You talking to me?" Superman flying with Lois Lane, and you'll also see Dorothy opening the door and stepping into Oz and going from sepia into full color.
Mm-hmm. It's an amazing shot.
It's a great shot. A trick shot as well.
You know how they pulled it off? They tricked how they did it, how they did that whole sepia to full color thing.
Yeah, one of them was dressed in sepia clothes and it was a stand-in. And she opens the door and then the camera shifts perspective and then Judy Garland walks into frame in full coloured costume onto a coloured set. So that the house was sepia, painted sepia.
And it was all pulled off in camera.
Yeah.
It's so effective.
That was back
it really is.
When making movies was magic realism.
In Kansas anymore.
Did you actually get to rewatch any films for this? Because I know you're busy.
Yeah, I watched Everything Everywhere All at Once.
Oh, go on.
I watched The Life of Pi. I watched Big Fish, Pan's Labyrinth, Amelie, Beast of Sudden Wild, Birdman, Black Swan, 8.5, Border. I watched them all.
Oh, you lie. Hey, but you actually just brought up a film there that I did watch. So you brought up Border, right?
I've seen Border.
Have you seen it?
Yes, I've seen it. I saw it, 2 years ago because it won a ton of awards. Yeah, I remember reading an interview with the director at the time who said that he wanted to treat the world as grounded and as relatable to what we recognize, but the central focus of it to be this odd thing, which is these Neanderthal troll-like characters. But everything else about it, the cars, the way it's shot, the lighting, the locations, the dialogue, it could just be a normal drama.
Yeah, it's a Swedish-Danish co-production, but it was made in Sweden. And for those of you who don't know,
it's very, very sweet and moving.
Yeah, I really liked it. Border is about a border guard with a sixth sense for identifying smugglers encounters the first person she cannot prove is guilty. She is forced to confront terrifying revelations about herself and humankind. And I loved seeing, she looks like a Neanderthal troll-like person, but she's just this regular border guard, and she has this amazing ability to be able to smell just to smell the truth, or she can smell when people are up to something. Just by
until she meets a guy who she can't read his mind, and then it's the story of, I don't know, connection, human connection, but told with this metaphor, and whether you are what people think of you, or you are what you think of yourself. Identity comes into it.
Yeah, it's considered an LGBTQ plus film.
Yeah, I think it's a metaphor for a lot of things, but it is the othering of someone and them finding a sense of peace.
Bara köra förbi.
Vilken överraskning.
När jag var liten trodde jag att jag var något speciell. Sen blev jag vuxen och fattade att jag är bara människa. Du är en konstig människa med kromosomfel.
Det är väl inget fel på dig.
saker du inte känner till.
Another film I've watched for this is a film which I missed this past year from a filmmaker who I love, and his name is George Miller. And he came up with a film this past year. It's called 3,000 Years of Longing.
My name is Alethea. My story is true. I am a solitary creature by nature. I have no children, no siblings, no parents. I did once have a husband. If there is fate, who can say? But in the Grand Bazaar of Istanbul, I chose a memento. I like it. Whatever it is, I'm sure it has an interesting story.
So, what will you wish for?
What is your heart's desire?
I do have a question. What does one do with 3 wishes?
You'll see.
Oh, the one about the jinn.
Yeah.
A jinn is another word for a genie, we'll say.
Yeah. So 3,000 Years of Longing stars Tilda Swinton as a narrativologist, I think she calls herself, and Idris Elba, who is a jinn that she discovers randomly in this bottle. And this jinn has been trapped in that bottle for a long, long time and desperately wants Tilda Swinton's character to use up her wishes because that's his purpose in the story. And she knows narratives so well that she is reluctant to ask any wishes from a jinn because she knows what happens.
It's a monkey's paw thing, isn't it? It's
there you go.
Yeah.
That's exactly it.
You ask for all the money in the world and you basically get buried alive with it.
Yeah.
Did you like it?
Yes, I did enjoy it. Yeah.
Because I heard it wasn't like, I heard it was a strange one.
This is a type of film that I can totally see how it doesn't land for a lot of audiences because it's mainly about the jinn telling his story of how he ended up in her hands. So it's going back over all of the previous owners of the people who have conjured him awake, essentially. I actually found it very entertaining. I was swept away by it.
Is there a cameo from Larry Hagman?
Larry Hagman?
Yeah.
Why Larry Hagman?
I Dream of Jeannie.
Oh, God.
Was he actually in I Dream of Jeannie or was that Bewitched?
Oh, no, it was Bewitched. The band from the 90s. So you say, so you want, so you do what I want to remember.
What?
You're talking about like my father. He was the 5th member of Bewitched, Larry Hagman.
What was that fucking line? I fight like me dad.
Tiddly diddly diddly diddly. Yeah, he was the guy dancing
in Teletubby Land. Oh my God.
Yeah. But I actually enjoyed 3,000 Years of Longing. And the scene I loved in it is a moment where she meets the jinn for the first time because he's oversized. She's in her hotel room and he manifests in her room and he's huge. He's actually horizontal. He's kind of like crouched up and he can't fit into it. And he doesn't even understand. He's been in the bottle so long, he doesn't understand what's going on with all the technology. And when the TV is on, he's going, who's this man in the box? Like, did you magic him in the box? And all this. It's actually quite entertaining and fun.
Oh. There's no story about wishing that is not a cautionary tale.
We all have desires, even if they remain hidden from us. But it is your story, and I cannot wait to see where it goes.
Oh, how it might end. Hello. He'll be staying for a while.
I'll have to look out for that one. So I've got that to watch and Song of the Sea and Killing of a Sacred Deer. I've got lots of homework.
You've highlighted something for me as well, like even just through this conversation, that, why use magical realism? Why employ magical realism? And it goes back to what I said at the beginning, is that magical realism should be basically like a mirror for the real world, or a way for for the characters, or for us as an audience to see the problems of the real world, you know? So like in the case of Wizard of Oz, it's about Dorothy realizing that, look, there's no place like home, and you've got all these things inside of you, all the things that you think is wrong with home is actually, it's fine. You have everything.
You had the power all along.
Yeah, basically.
The metaphors.
They're basically metaphors. And it gives through the exercise of going into the realm of the magical realism, or magic coming into their world, they unlock something and help fix the world. That's essentially one of the core tenets for me as well. So, another one, I'll give you one, is Field of Dreams, right?
Of course.
I have just created something totally illogical.
That's what I like about it.
If you build it, he will come. If you build it, he will come.
If you build what, who will come?
Didn't say.
I hate it when that happens.
Me too.
So have you ever seen Field of Dreams?
I have, yeah, years and years ago. Proper schmaltz. If you build it, they will come. That's not the line though, is it? It's, if you build it, he will come.
He will come, yeah.
Yeah. And everyone says, it's like, beat me up, Scotty. He never said that.
He did not.
No.
Field of Dreams came out in 1989. It was directed by Phil Alden Robinson.
Very good director.
Written by Phil Alden Robinson.
Very good writer.
He made Sneakers.
He did. A great movie.
And Sum of All Fears.
Mm-hmm. That's also
and
there.
He's also involved in Band of Brothers.
Mm-hmm.
So there you go. Field of Dreams came out in 1989, and it's the story of an Iowa farmer, played by Kevin Costner, who hears a mysterious voice telling him to turn his cornfield into a baseball diamond. He does, but the voice's directions don't stop, even after the spirits of deceased baseball players turn up to play. I loved this film when I saw it way back in the day, and so I hadn't seen this in many decades, 2, 3 probably.
Is A League of Their Own magic realism?
Whereas I don't remember any moment of magic realism in A League of Their Own.
There's girls playing baseball.
Oh, you sexist pig. You sexist pig.
I'll say anything for a joke, me. I love A League of Their Own, actually. It's a great film.
It is great.
Yeah.
I rewatched Field of Dreams this past week as well, these past few weeks. And the schmaltz is thick. The schmaltz is thick and...
What is schmaltz? I've never heard of it called schmaltz.
What do you call it?
Schmaltz.
I call it schmaltz because my
schmaltz.
Speech impediment won't let me get around it. But there is a charm to it. And we talk about, what I was talking about is like how magic realism kind of holds up a mirror to the problems of the real world. And in that story, it's very much about Kevin Costner not having any closure with his dad, after having a very alienated relationship with his father growing up, which is very much the front of the story. This whole thing ends up leading to him finally having a bit of closure with his dad.
Playing catch with his dad.
And my God, it's hard not to, it's hard to, there's a little bit of moment where you go, oh, this is kind of, maybe it's a little bit, maybe it's going over the top a little bit, but still it is quite sweet. It is quite sweet. And
see, sweetness, I think, is what alienates me from these films. I'm a big, open-hearted, soppy fucker. I will cry my eyes out at sports movies all the time. But whenever it gets so sentimental and whimsical,
yeah,
I don't know. I tend to just close up a little bit, and I get the ick.
That sounds like a you problem.
It's so beautiful here. For me. Well, for me, it's like a dream come true. Can I ask you something? Is this heaven? It's Iowa. Iowa?
Could have sworn it was heaven. Is there a heaven? Oh, yeah. It's the place dreams come true.
Maybe this is heaven.
Good night, Ray. Good night, John.
Hey, Dad? You want to have a catch?
I'd like that.
Guess what, Kevin?
What, Will?
I have another one to talk about.
My God, we've gone from jar to gin and we're still not done.
We're not done. A couple more, because I did a lot of homework for this. We haven't recorded in so long. I was kind of just
it's
like,
been over 2 weeks.
Yeah, we haven't, since I got this topic ages ago. So I've been kind of watching films all the way and kind of catching up on things I hadn't seen. And
well, it's good because I don't even have a pick, to be honest.
Another one I watched, Kevin, was one that maybe you watched, maybe you didn't watch, from the late 90s.
I didn't watch it.
It's called Pleasantville. Have you watched that one?
Pleasantville is brilliant.
Yes.
There's a place where life is simple. People are perfect. And everything is black and white.
Honey, I'm home.
It's a place that's as far from reality as we can imagine.
How about some marshmallow rice squares?
Those are swell.
But maybe it's a lot closer
Let me see that.
than we think.
What happened?
I'm not sure.
Look at me. I'm pasty.
Morning, kids. Better get a move on or you'll be late for school.
I put blueberries in them just the way you like.
We're in Pleasantville?
No!
We're supposed to be in school.
We're supposed to be in color?
What's all the commotion?
Who's that?
I didn't think you'd want to come here until we've been pinned for a little while.
You can pin me anytime you want to. Or maybe I should just pin you.
She's a fine young woman. She would never do anything for us to be concerned about.
This is my favorite era of Hollywood movies. It's when they were doing sort of, what would you call them? They're like prestige films, but they have a Hollywood studio mainstream commercial appeal to them. Like The Truman Show and like Pleasantville and Eternal Sunshine of a Spotless Mind. They were movies that had great ideas, great originality to them, and they were given tons of money. And it was just that lovely sort of period where big ideas were getting big budgets.
Absolutely. And this is one of them. And it's written and directed by Gary Ross, who went on to financial success when he made the first Hunger Games movie. It stars Tobey Maguire and Reese Witherspoon, William H. Macy, Joel Allen, Jeff Daniels, TJ Walsh, big cast.
Yeah.
Came out in 1998. And it is about a teenager, Tobey Maguire's character, and his popular twin sister, played by Reese Witherspoon. They get sucked into the black and white world of the 1950s TV sitcom called Pleasantville and find a world where everything is peachy keen all the time.
A repressed world.
Very much so. But when Reese Witherspoon's character's modern attitude disrupts Pleasantville's peaceful but boring routine. She literally brings color into this life, and it is wonderful to watch as color disrupts this world. It's
When her
fantastic.
lips start to bloom and she starts getting, red lips.
And she's actually one of the last characters to actually become colorized.
But it's very sweet. But that's the good kind of sweet.
Yeah.
Where it feels intellectual.
This is the thing. It's a very fine balance. You can fall on the side of saccharine, of being too sweet, or you can err on the side of actually telling a great story and having magic and the magic realism elements being incredibly powerful, because it's a story that reflects on the world where we see this perfectly routine, mundane conservative world is all of a sudden disrupted by new ideas and new concepts. And once you are corrupted, you can't go back. But anyone who is corrupted doesn't want to go back because they have been awakened. And
it's like an invasion of the body snatchers.
Yeah. Yeah. And like it's like they literally say, "Oh, you're colors." There's times when they go, "You colors," which is so the racial kind of like
connotation,
overtones, the racial connotation and overtones is on the nose, but it works in the context of this story. There's an amazing moment where Jeff Daniels, he's an artist, and he runs the local cafeteria and the diner, and all of a sudden his artistic talent is awakened, and he paints a picture of Joan Allen's character. And she's in the nude, and he does it as a mural, and everyone in the town is shocked.
Yeah, it's like Titanic, except she's spread eagle.
It's very tastefully done, Kevin.
No, it is.
I loved Pleasantville.
I did as well. I haven't seen it in about 20 years, but I did love it.
It holds up, man. It holds up. It's really, really, really good.
Wait.
No, I've got to go.
Let me see. It's beautiful. You shouldn't cover that up. Here. Let me just.
There's a moment in a rock musical biopic that I really liked of magical realism. And it's from the recent film Rocket Man, the Elton John movie.
Ugh.
Did you watch it?
I'm not going to watch that.
Look at you judging a book by its cover.
Yeah, I'm not interested. Films are fucking shite.
Why would I watch a film? Why would I watch a film recommended by my co-host?
It looked that exactly is why I didn't want to watch it. It just looked whimsical.
It's not. It's actually I thought it was great. I actually really enjoyed it. Where Bohemian Rhapsody.
Did ya?
Oh, I did, yeah. Where Bohemian Rhapsody was a triumphant financial success and got awards and all that sort of stuff.
The best musical biopic film is The Commitments.
Yeah, but it's not a biopic.
It is. They're a real band.
Are they? Well, they're a real band
after the fact.
After the fact, yeah.
That was the amazing thing.
It's almost a documentary.
Yeah, they break up at the end of the film, but they get back together and tour
in real life.
Yeah.
Hey, there's a moment in Rocket Man that I do love, and it's a moment where Elton John makes his first live performance in Los Angeles in this kind of like make it or break it a location called the Troubadour, and the moment is when he starts to play Crocodile Rock and he's nervous as hell. Yeah. But when he starts to play it, when the audience starts to love it, he starts to float. And I know you hate it. I don't hate it.
I just find it a bit much.
Worked.
Calm
the
your
whole film
tits.
has this energy about it that I enjoyed. And I love that moment of him floating and the audience floating. And it's like, he's taken off, baby.
He's singing
off.
the Crocodile Rock.
Yeah, the Rocket Man is taken off. And
what they should have is having been eaten by crocodiles. Do they include the moment in it where he's singing Candle in the Wind at Diana's funeral?
They did, actually, yeah. No, they didn't.
They did not.
They did not.
Oh, right. And he gets up and he starts dancing with Diana, like her and John Travolta, and they're in the clouds.
Diana's corpse, her ghost comes out of the coffin, and they have this moment. So that's a moment of magical realism where Elton John is dancing with Diana, and yeah. It doesn't happen like that.
8.5. We got to mention 8.5. Fellini, we're film scholars on this podcast. Dream Logic, a really intoxicating film, one to watch. Get it down you. But I thought I'd just throw that in there.
Guido, che stai preparando? Qualcosa di bello?
Guido, dove corri, disgraziato?
Guido, vuoi salire, no?
Kevin, we should wrap up this episode because we've been talking for a long time about random films and touching on all this sort of stuff. There's a load of films that I have also watched that I just don't have the time.
That's fine. You can send them an email. If anybody wants to know what other films Will's watched, email us. Go on to the bestbitspodcast.com and go onto the contact page and just write a little note saying, Will, what else have you seen? And Will will send you a list that will be about 300 films long.
That's the amount of work I put into into my research and homework for this bloody show. Kevin, you said to me earlier that you had two films and you were flip-flopping between your two films.
Yeah.
What were you thinking?
Well, the one that I want to mention, I can't really think of a specific scene which sums up the concept of magic realism because the whole film is magic realism.
Right, okay.
But the film is it's sometimes in my top 5 of all time. But it's always in my top 10.
Right.
And it's a perfect film. It's a film I didn't really like the first time I saw it when I was a young teenager. I think I was 14 or 15 when I saw it on video. I thought it was like half a film. It was irritating. It was like, oh my God, they're not doing it again, are they? And then as the years went on and my emotional intelligence broadened
slightly,
and I realized how perfectly constructed the film was, but also how philosophical it was and how deep it was. I came to really love the film, and it's Groundhog Day.
Hey, yeah.
my time.
1,000 people freezing their butts off waiting to worship a rat.
Weatherman Phil Connors is spending the day in Puxatawney, Pennsylvania.
Phil? Ned Ryerson. I did the whistling belly button trick at the high school talent show.
Bing!
Bing!
But Phil's about to find out he's not just stuck in Puxatawney.
Will you be checking out today, Mr. Connors?
Chance of departure today, 100%.
He's stuck
Groundhog Day!
in Groundhog Day.
I'm reliving the same day over and over.
Phil?
Ned Ryerson?
Bing!
Do you ever have deja vu, Mrs. Lancaster?
I don't think so, but I could check with the kitchen.
Well, it's Groundhog Day. Again?
At first, he was a little anxious.
Phil? What?
Will you be checking out today, Mr. Connors?
I'd say the chance of departure is 80%.
But now,
We could do whatever we want.
he's discovering the possibilities
Don't you worry about cholesterol?
Why?
and living life like there's no tomorrow.
Phil Connors!
Ned!
Because there isn't.
I am an immortal. I have been stabbed, shot, burned, frozen, electrocuted. I'm a god.
You're God.
I'm a god. I'm not the god. He's out of his gourd.
But to get what his heart wants most
What are you looking for, Phil? A date for the weekend?
means living this day over again till he gets it right.
Believe it or not, I studied 19th century French poetry.
What a waste of time.
I studied 19th century French poetry.
La fille qui j'aimerais.
You speak French?
Bill Murray, Andy McDowell,
To the groundhog.
I always drink to world peace. Well, what should we drink to?
I like to say a prayer and drink to world peace. Don't drive angry. Don't drive angry. He might be okay. Yes!
Life has a funny way of repeating itself.
What did you do today?
Oh, same old, same old.
And I guess maybe the scene that I like the most in that movie is when he cannot save the homeless man. And he realizes that all of his problems pale in comparison because there's always somebody who's worse off than you. And every day that he relives, that old man that everybody's overlooked dies. And he tries to save him, and he can't save him. And he has to come to the realization that there's a natural order to things, I suppose. And that pain and sadness and loss is part of life. And that he can't reach true fulfillment until he accepts that. And it's one of the most touching moments in a knockabout comedy. And I think I'm going to go with that.
Excuse me, sir. Are you the one who brought the old man in?
Mm-hmm. How's he?
Well, he just passed away.
What did he die of?
He was just old. It was just his time.
I want to see his chart. Excuse me.
Sir. Sir, you can't come in here. Sir, this is a restricted area.
Where's the chart?
Sometimes people just die.
Not today. It's hard down there at the bottom.
Here you go.
Thank you. Come on, dear. Come on, Pop. Come on, Pop. Come on, come on. Come on, breathe. Breathe, Pop. Breathe, Pop.
Excellent choice. An excellent film.
My backup was going to be Everything Everywhere All at Once.
Mm-hmm.
And that movie is a lot of movie. And I do feel like there's about 20 minutes of that film that if you took it out, it would feel more digestible because it can hammer you over the head. But I was really moved to tears towards the end of that film. And it really takes a turn. I remember being in the cinema and you could hear a pin drop when it cut to the two rocks.
Yeah.
And they were just discussing the meaning of existence. And it was just be a rock. Just stop trying to be everything for everyone. And just be what you are. Just be a rock. And it's subtitled. And it's beautiful. It's so beautiful and earnest and heartfelt. And towards the end of that film, I just found it so deeply moving. And everything, all of the madness that went on when she's resisting and when she's fighting and when she's trying to control the narrative, when she submits to it and realizes that it's all just about connecting to the person in her life that means the most to her, which is her daughter. And that was the big enemy in her life. And all her daughter wanted was to be seen and to be heard and to be acknowledged.
You know why I actually built the bagel? It wasn't to destroy everything. It was to destroy myself. I wanted to see if I went in, could I finally escape? Like actually die. At least this way. I don't have to do it alone.
And yeah, I guess in those two films, Groundhog Day and Everything Everywhere All at Once, the sentiment is what makes that movie matter. And I guess when you're taking metaphor and you're trying to explain big existential questions like that, magic realism really works. And so those two were the two that I was grappling with. But which one could I sort of get through without getting choked up?
And my God, Everything Everywhere All at Once does exactly what magical realism should do, which is it holds that magical mirror up to a very real world problem. And it's the problem of this family and helps them fix their conflicted and fractured relationships. It's a really amazing little film. Yeah, I would find it difficult to pick between both of those as well.
There you go. Right, well, I'll talk to you soon. And
my pick for this topic, Kevin.
Let me go. I've got a meeting there with I actually don't. I got no
Senior
meetings.
Spielbergo. So my pick is something that was quite easy for me to decide upon because it's an opportunity for me to finally choose one of my favorite films.
Song of the Sea?
Ever. And it is from
Song of the Sea.
No. It's a Wonderful Life.
Well, who are you? I told you, George, I'm your guardian angel.
What is it you want, Mary? You want the moon? Just say the word and I'll throw a lasso around it and pull it down.
Welcome home, Mr. Bailey.
Sentimental hogwash. I wish I had $1 million. Mr. and Mrs. Martini, welcome home.
This is what I wished for.
You see, George, you really had a wonderful life.
Merry Christmas!
Look, Daddy, teacher says every time a bell rings, an angel gets his wings.
That's right. That's right.
An absolutely perfect film in my eyes. I adore it. I love the use of magical realism in this because it is about George Bailey, the guy who has sacrificed all these hopes and dreams to do the honest to God thing and stay at home and help out his family and help out the business and help out, just basically sacrificed everything. And finally, when things go to shit and everything goes wrong, he feels like life would have been better if he had never existed. And Clarence, the angel in training, shows him the world if he had never existed. And it is horrific. It reflects back to George that, listen, your life, even though it doesn't feel like you have added much to this world, but my God, one life can create such positivity in the world, and it's precious, and what you've added to this community is absolutely precious. And I just love the moment where he comes back to reality.
Help me, Clarence, please. Please. I want to live again. I want to live again. I want to live again. Please, God. Let me live again. Hey, George! George! You all right? Hey, what's the matter?
Now get out of here, Bert, or I'll hit you again. Get out of here.
What the Sam Hill you yelling for, George?
George. Bert, do you know me?
Know you? You kidding? I've been looking all over town trying to find you. I saw your car piled into that tree down there, and I thought maybe you... Hey, your mouth's bleeding. Are you sure you're all right?
What you... My mouth's bleeding, Bert! My mouth's bleeding! Zuzu's pedals. Zuzu... There they are! Bert! What do you know about that? Merry Christmas!
Well, Merry Christmas!
And George goes back through Bedford Falls, and he sees his old banger of a truck. It's crashed against a tree. All of the things that a few hours before felt like the end of his world now are welcome totems, welcoming him back to the real world.
Merry Christmas, movie house! Merry Christmas, Emporium! Merry Christmas, you wonderful old building and loan! Hey! Merry Christmas, Mr. Potter! Happy New Year to you! In jail. Go on home, they're waiting for you.
But it doesn't matter. Even though things seem terrible, it doesn't matter because I'm alive and we have each other and we'll figure it out. Life might be terrible, but it is all about perspective.
I'll bet it's a warrant for my arrest. Isn't it wonderful? I'm going to jail. Merry Christmas. Reporters. Where's Mary? Mary! Oh, look at this wonderful old drafty house. Mary! 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 Have you seen my wife?
Merry
Christmas, Daddy!
Kids! Pete! Kids! Janie! Tommy! Let me look at you. Oh, I could eat you up. Where's your mother?
And that is the beauty of the magical realism of It's a Wonderful Life, where George gets the opportunity to see the world if he never existed, and how precious and important his life has been to making the world a better place. And I think that's amazing, and I think it's wonderful, and it highlights to me one of the most important things about magical realism, which is you need to have the light and the dark, but also it needs to be a mirror being held up to the real world. And I think it's just a beautiful, beautiful film, and I love it so much. So that's my pick, Kevin.
Attaboy, Clarence.
What's that wonderful line that Keanu Reeves said? Probably the best thing he's ever done in his life, and he's a great movie star. Well, he said on a chat show, Stephen Colbert asked him, what happens when we die? And Keanu, have you seen it?
Yeah.
And Keanu Reeves takes a moment and he says, I don't know, but I know that the people who love us will miss us.
Yeah, it's very sweet.
It is, and it's like, that's all that really matters, isn't it? And that's the lesson I think that George Bailey learns in that, is that he matters. I don't know what the fuck I'm talking about.
But no, it's very, what you're saying is very, very true. And I think what I was saying was that, listen, magic realism, I think, works when it is mixed with, it's like a mirror, a reflection of the light and the dark. When you have both sides, both contours, if it's all light and if it's all sweet, then it doesn't work.
Yeah.
But I feel you need to have that dark element in there for it to truly work and be effective and
I
powerful.
agree. I'm the dark element of the podcast.
It's true. You are actually, as I look at you now, you are shadowed in darkness. You've thrown on your Dark Lord robe, and I'm here with my White Lord robe. Look at us. We're here in the cold, recording in the cold, and Kevin's wearing a dark blanket, and I've got a light coloured blanket. Hey, we've done it, Kevin. That's the end of the episode.
I really enjoyed that, and I think I have a better grasp on what magic realism is, and also I think I have a new appreciation for what magic realism can achieve in movies.
Well, I am glad.
I am too. Now I never have to talk about these films ever again.
Well, I'm just glad I get to park It's a Wonderful Life. I get to talk about it. I got to talk about it at one stage.
I feel like you've talked about it several times.
It's never come up as a pick, ever.
Chase scenes.
It's a Wonderful Life.
Yeah.
Best fight scene, best sex scene.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I think you actually did bring it up in one of those things.
There is one.
Best I Love You. Best I Love You, I think.
Yeah, it did. You're right. It did come up in that. So this is me now parking it. I've discussed It's a Wonderful Life. I'm putting it away now. Come here. We have to roll the wheel, and I have to roll it for you, or spin the wheel. I have to spin the wheel.
Yeah, we're not rolling that anywhere. Spin it.
Well, since Pierce got his hands on it, there's a lot of rolling going on.
Ever since he got mauled by that badger, he's not been the same.
He really hasn't been. He's got. You know, he can't drink water. Do you ever see him try and drink a glass of water?
Yeah, he uses both hands.
Yeah, he uses both hands, and then when it goes into his own, he starts gagging like he's drowning.
Yeah, rabies.
Rabies. It's fucking rabies.
Hydrophobia.
Yeah, it's mad.
Well, we got the best out of him.
At least we got 3 episodes or 4. How many episodes has he done? 5 episodes?
He's done about 8 episodes.
Oh God, yeah. Oh yeah, he's earned his keep. Let me spin it. Okay, I'm going to spin the wheel.
Okay.
And Kevin, your topic for next time is best plot twist.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I'm already thinking of, you goddamn apes, you blew it up.
Do you know what I know what you're thinking? You're thinking of what sort of elaborate sketch and skit you can do. That's what you're thinking. You're forgetting about research. You're just thinking, okay, I'm going to script this.
You know
how many characters are we going to have? How many new characters are we going to create? Is Dead Man going to show up again? Hang on a second.
Because I'm so fucking creatively stunted. Subscribe, resubscribe, tell your friends about the podcast, please. We also have a Patreon. We do loads over there. We've got as many Patreon episodes out as we do main shows. Check out our website, have a nose around. Alright, see ya.
Yes, do what Kevin said. Bye.
The Best Bits podcast is produced by Will and Kevin.
All audio clips and music heard in this episode is the intellectual property of the respective copyright holders, and no infringement is intended.
If you enjoyed this episode, please consider becoming a Patreon member, where you'll receive bonus shows where we talk about recent releases and what we're up to.
And you'll receive access to our Discord chat room, where we hang out with our listeners.
Search the Best Bits podcast on Patreon or click on the link in the show notes.
Will I feel ill, you know? That's not a tag. Just take something from this and put it at the end.
And here is a clip from the lads' latest Mini Bits bonus show. The full episode, plus 80 more, are available on their Patreon.
See ya, Mossy. I gotta go in and record another one of these fucking Mini Bits.
Oh, yes, that's all it is.
I know. What are you doing?
Right now, on the Academy screener site, and I hit play because there's only a few films on it for the first month or two. There's only like about less than 10 films on it, and Guy Ritchie's The Covenant is on here. So I hit play on that, and I'm hearing we're out in Afghanistan, and I'm hearing all the dirt, and I hear vehicles, and I hear the sound effects of characters walking. But when characters open their mouths, I don't hear any dialogue.
Mm-hmm. Oh, there's
no dialogue.
They've uploaded the wrong audio track. It's like that Tom Cruise trailer where it was just the sound effects.
Have you met an SP?
Yeah, and this film has been up on the screen site for a few weeks now, and they still have the wrong one here. Well, I tell you what films are actually up there for all Academy members to see, and they see what they've put up there.
But first of all, let's just throw to our theme. And I have to say, the feedback from my thank you ballad it was quite fierce.
The power of Christ compels you.
So I asked Mossy, who is a friend of my dad's at the quiz, sing us a theme tune.
Oh.
So over to Mossy.
Hit the cards. I'm fine, I'll get it done in one take. It's the Many Bits. Oh, podcast, what will they say? With Will and Captain Cock.
The best fucking podcast.
That'll do.
That'll do.
My God.
Thank you, Mossy.
He would make an angel weep. That voice would make an angel weep.
Telling you.
Beautiful. Beautiful. Boolabus.
It only cost us 2 months patron money, so, you know.
Is that all? Money well spent in my eyes.
Yeah. I mean, you can't get much for €20. Will, you were telling me before the intro that you were looking at stuff on the Academy Screeners website.
The Academy Awards. So for official members, yes. So they don't send out DVDs anymore. So how you do all your streaming stuff is all via the Academy website. And the streaming season has begun, which is exciting. So it means for the rest of the year...
Did it ever end?
It does end. It does. After the Academy Awards, there's about 2 weeks, and they take all the films down, and then they begin again at the end of August, and they all start coming up. So it's a whole new collection of hopefuls.
So how many films are on there?
Right now, about 10. Actually, 10 exactly. I can tell you the 10.
Oh, go on, tell me.
John Wick 4.
For the Oscars. Oh, because there's like...
Yes, because they're adding in stunt category, aren't they?
Are they adding it in? Is the stunt category being added?
I believe they're adding in some sort of stunt category.
Breaking news straight from an Academy member's mouth.
Because they're adding in stunt category, aren't they?
Slash film.
I don't know. Did I read this in an article? I feel they were.
I
felt they were.
Have long overlooked stunts, and my God, it's pure artistry.
Yeah.
And it is... incredibly well these days. It's all fucking rubber computer generated avatars.
That's why we should highlight. That's why these people should be getting their Oscars when someone's actually gone out. Then
go back,
absolutely.
Go back and give it to your man from Mad Max who broke his legs.
Give it to Richard Farnsworth, who was a stuntman and starred in The Straight Story. Yeah, Richard Farnsworth was a career stuntman. Absolutely.
Wasn't that also the case with Machete? What's your man, Machete? Danny Trejo.
Danny Trejo. Really?
It Trejo or Trejo?
I always call him Trejo, but he just says, call me Danny.
I was going to say that back to you.
Nah.
I was like, just that.
Weird.
Tells me just call him.